Alright, I got another 2-gamer here. This first one's kind of funny is because this one's against Jack, aka one of the other guys in the NCPL, the other guy that made it to, I believe, round 5 of the NCPL. So it was me and him spearheading Washington. He unfortunately lost in the semis, but it was still pretty rad to be able to play him in a completely different tier. And to be honest, the combination of pokes more or less suggests, and he did confirm this at the beginning of our game, that he has no fucking idea what he's doing in this tier. And that's funny because he brought a bunch of PU stuff, which is, you know, NU's a little bit different from PU. NU still has a little bit of an oomph to it, which is kind of present in the combination of pokes I brought. Don't get me wrong, Pikachu still hits hard, but you can tell right off the bat that he doesn't know what Scyther's base speed is. He's going to go for a fake out here, but all Pikachus run Light Ball. All Pikachus run Light Ball. I'm not worried about some kind of stupid Sash Pikachu or anything like that. I was going to end up taking that damage regardless. That's fine, but I'm just going to drop this bad boy with a Choice Banded U-turn. There's not a lot of things that like taking that in the first place. Even Butterfree, which I've U-turned on plenty of times, actually does happen to take half HP, over half HP from a CB U-turn, so there's no way Pikachu's taking that. I'm going to come in with Typhlosion as he actually sends out his Marowak here. I don't think any variant of Marowak can take a full HP Eruption from a Typhlosion. Even if I was like a Timid Scarf non-fire boosting one, maybe. I don't know. That shit would have been rough. This thing gives me a little bit of trouble. I knew this thing was going to give me trouble just because it's a freaking Kecleon. Protean on this thing is actually not bad. This thing is like Greninja's fat, slow cousin. But he's cool. He's cool. I still really like seeing him a lot. And I'm actually going to eat a big Rock Slide, and he's going to follow it up with a Shadow Sneak. So I did not expect to see Rock Slide on this thing, but I guess it kind of makes sense with the amount of flying types in this tier to get yourself a sudden resistance, and this thing gets access priority and stuff. Don't sleep on Kecleon is basically what I'm saying here. Now, the one tempting thing to do here was to go for a knockoff because he would not be able to go for a move in time, and I think that's what I ultimately ended up doing here. So I'm going to knock off this Weezing's Black Sludge, do a decent amount to it in the process, but I'm not going to stay and go for another knockoff. I'm actually going to go out into Typhlosion because this thing is Flash Fire. It was the most obvious play, and would you look at that? Have you ever used a Flash Fire Eruption? I haven't, kids, and let me tell you, this thing is a real kick in the pants to deal with. If you don't have an immediate water type switch in or anything that is another Flash Fire user, a Flash Fire Typhlosion that got the Flash Fire boost was one of the most threatening goddamn things you can see ever. So I think right here I made an oopsies and I went for an Eruption instead of a Flamethrower. I'm pretty sure with whatever damage he had gone for, Flamethrower probably still would have done a little bit more. Which I'm actually going to test the waters on right now to see which one does more. And I think Flamethrower actually does a little bit more, but I think even with the combination of 2 Flamethrowers, I would not have been able to take this thing out. So he just goes for another Rock Slide on that one. That's fine. Maybe 2 Sucker Punches would have been better, but I guess he just wanted to go for the sure kill. So I get a little bit of damage off on him, which is nice. I know he had Shadow Sneak, but it didn't cross my mind that he was going to go for a Sucker Punch again. God forbid. This was probably a little bit of a dumber play there. I could have just gone into Scyther and just gone for... Actually, no, wait, I couldn't have because he Rock Slided. So that was an interesting predicament I found myself in. He had to change types before I was able to do a reliable amount of damage to him. I couldn't out-prioritize him because he was in a good typing form that actually resisted Quick Attack. So kudos on that series of plays. That was definitely an eyebrow raiser, so to speak. So he's going to go into Dusclops right now. And I think I actually run into the tournament's 2 Dusclops back-to-back in these games. But I'm going to go for Specs Ice Beam. I do get a crit on that, and it does around half. But I honestly don't mind just continually going for Ice Beam. Because I think, PP maxed up to either 16 or 24, whatever. This is actually, whatever. I guess I just decide not to deal with it. That's fine. We're going to go into Heliolisk. That seems like a better idea, just as, you know, potential death fodder. I think I maybe went into Heliolisk also thinking that he could have gone for a Pain Split right there. If he did have it, I don't know what his recovery move is, but he's actually just going to go ahead and go for Wolos to knock me out. That's fine, because this means if it does have Pain Split, or if it does have rest or some, well, it's gonna have a recovery move. I guess what I'm saying here is he decided not to go for it and the fact that he did not go for any of them means he probably has Pain Split over rest. So I pushed him to go for a Willows instead, because otherwise he would have actually lost out on a lot of HP from that. So the threat that is a Dusclops is actually just neutered by a crit Ice Beam, a T-Bolt, and another Ice Beam. Jesus, what? That was pushy. So Viper's gonna come in. I don't see this thing too often. And this thing goes for a Sludge Bomb, and it really doesn't do that much. I'm wondering where the Flamethrower was. Not that it would have really done that much more, but Specs Ice Beam once again cleans this thing's clock too. What else? What does he have left? Oh, no, wait, no, that was the end of the game. Just kidding. That was kind of fast. Regice did some work. The Flash Fire Typhlosion, I think that was his star moment there. Just because Eruption, he had apparently he had to let something die in order to get Kecleon to come and be able to weaken it, because I don't think Kecleon can take too many switches of those. Dusclops potentially could have as well. I think Pressure Stalling me would have been the smarter of the two plays there. So I left a lot of time in between these two for whatever reason. I think I just recorded the game, left like 30 seconds in case I wasn't going to separate the videos, and then probably left enough to fade into the next one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is scary. It's a little bit of a different setup here. The one thing I did do to Maggie in the first game, one of the other people that had a Butterfree, was I brought in Xatu to Magic Bounce away the Sleep Powder. But Jacob is a little bit of a smarter player. He does see that I have a Xatu, and as such is not going to be too inclined to go for that. And the Fraxure, I realize I don't have a lot for, if at all. If this thing is an Eviolite Fraxure, this thing is going to be terrifying to try to revenge kill or anything of the sort. If this thing is a Life Orb Fraxure, it's just going to mow me down. It's not really going to care. I don't have a lot that'll outpace it after like 1 or 2 Dragon Dances. So things to be wary of and things to be careful for. So I do decide to go with the exact same lead situation. Leading off with Scyther is nice strong. This thing's got really good base speed. Not a lot of terribly good bug resistances in the tier that will be able to withstand another pivot that I have going on my team. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go out in a Xatu. And he goes for a fucking Tailwind instead of a Sleep Powder. And I was like, oh shit, we cannot mess with that. That's bad. That's not okay. So this thing is actually a little bit faster. I'm going to go for Psyshock. I don't think I actually get to take it out on this one. Or maybe I do. Okay, yeah, I do. That's fine. But this means that now he can bring in Fraxure and utterly push my shit in while I still have, you know, not a good amount of HP. On top of that, he knows that I cannot one-shot him with anything. So while he's got the Tailwind up, he's actually going to go for another DD. That way, after that, he can still sustain his speed because I don't have T-Wave on this thing. And I'm really upset that I did not. But it actually does turn out that I think he does have Lumberry anyways instead of Life Orb or any other item. I think because he has Outrage instead of Dragon Claw. And this thing is fucking terrifying. Do you guys want to see why this thing is terrifying? So I thought this thing was actually going to be a little bit slower, so I bring in Heliolisk, and whoops, I get dropped too. Like, all of these Dragon Dancers I don't expect to be faster than like base 109 or whatever Heliolisk happens to be. They're faster than 109. All of these setup sweepers get faster than 109 after one, which is like, what the fuck? I can't do this. This is too much. So I bring in my next defensive thing, which is going to be Prinplup, and he crits me. I do think that mattered. I do think that mattered potentially a little bit because he only got a Dragon Dance up. And just, Christ on a goddamn bike, he's Lumberry. He can keep this up. This is not good. I'm losing Pokemon at way too fast of a rate. So I figure maybe I'll go into Regice, and he actually goes for an Iron Tail instead of an Outrage, trying to go for the super effective hit. Outrage would have dropped me. Outrage definitely would have dropped me. He probably would have 6-0'd there, to be honest, if he had not gone for Iron Tail. So I'm a little upset he actually went for that, because that means the game goes on, and I definitely would have had to talk about this almost potentially embarrassing experience. But I was not expecting Tailwind Fraxure, to be honest. That's really fucking smart and really scary at the same time. But he's going to go for a Calm Mind as I switch in my my Scyther here. Or, you know what, did I go for a U-turn? No, I didn't go for a U-turn yet, because otherwise I would be pivoting out. But you're going to see that this thing almost cleans it out from stock. And I think he ended up going for another Calm Mind, thinking that he was going to be able to take one of my moves just fine. He's now in a range where just about anything is going to be able to take him out. So I go back out into Regice. I've only got Choice Sweepers left now, which is my main problem here. I've got Choice Specs Regice, Choice Scarf Scyther, or no, Choice Banded Scyther, and to his knowledge, Choice Scarfed Typhlosion, which is what I think he's assuming I have. I was really hoping that a Specs Ice Beam was going to do it from there, by the way. Don't underestimate Regice. He actually doesn't disappoint too much. And he has this thing. And I was like, okay, this thing's name is Really. So this thing might be a little bit annoying. That's fine. I'm actually going to go out into Scyther right now. Or no, never mind. Just kidding. I'll go out into Typhlosion. So I was like, okay, whatever. That's fine. And he ends up pain splitting, so gets rid of a little bit of my HP. I didn't know what this thing really wanted to do. So I guess I just decided to go back out into Regice again, just to, you know, scout out the rest of his set. I was switching out in Typhlosion expecting a Will-O-Wisp, but I don't think he ever actually really reveals it. He's got Pain Split, which is the only thing I've learned. He keeps expecting me to attack him and just bring him back up full, but I'm just going to go out in Typhlosion again. He has Confuse Ray, and at this point, I say, really? Really? And then he points the name like, oh, okay, that's fair. That's stupid. God damn it, I hate that that works. But back into Regice again, because once again, I don't really feel like dealing with the Confuse Ray. Same just go for Nightshades freely on the switch. I was thinking he had Infestation for whatever reason, but he's got Pain Split, he's got Confuse Ray, he's got Nightshade. I think he mentioned that his fourth move was Toxic. That sounds about right. But he's also still got a Raichu in his back pocket too, so I want to keep both of those pokes at a decent amount of HP. I think that was probably my biggest mistake, choosing Regice to take on the Dusclops instead of anything else. I just didn't know whether or not he had Will-O-Wisp, which is a really common thing on Dusclops, to be honest. And I didn't want to put my Scyther in that predicament, but I wasn't thinking in terms of the late game. And I wasn't really expecting a knockoff to do that much to said Dusclops. So maybe after one Ice Beam, I should have tried going into Scyther and then just going for a knockoff in there, because then that meant that Regice would have been a decent amount of HP, and I still could have dropped this thing with a quick attack and maybe had Regice for something else later. But T-Bolt is going to do a lot of damage, and I'm just going to go for a Flamethrower. It's unfortunately not going to do as much as I want it to, and it turns out he's Air Balloon anyways, so if he was Life Orb, that's disappointing right there. Now, I want to explain this last turn right here because I do think he had one other poke, and you're probably thinking, why didn't you lock yourself on Quick Attack? I'm pretty sure that other poke was at a full amount of HP, so I locked myself in on a different move, expecting to maybe take a T-Bolt, but it's a Raichu. It's a stab T-Bolt. Regardless of the amount of HP I was at, I don't think I would have been able to take it. I think his last one was... Did he have... We never saw his fucking Sand Slash. God damn it, that pisses me off. I think I locked in on Aerial Ace for Sand Slash, or maybe U-Turn. I'm pretty sure I locked in on Aerial Ace, though. Anyways, I lost that one 2-0, which is fine. I'm still at a decent amount of points in the bracket as well, so I'm not too worried about occasional loss here or there, as long as I'm doing fine overall. Because I still got 4 points for that game because I knocked out 4 of his pokes. So, anyways, that was a game. That was 2 games, actually. I hope you guys are enjoying them so far. If you are, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that works. And I think I have one more game from this bracket, and then we move on to the next bracket from there. So, expect to see that in a little bit. I'll see you guys later.